GameStop is the elephant in the room that we are going to be talking about, but people are panicking because the Altcoin Season Indicator ended up taking a little bit of a dive today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about coming into this week, which is a very important week that we have all been waiting for the overall market because it is the rate decision. Everybody's talking about how we are getting a 0.25 BPS cut. Some people are saying we're getting no cut. Some people are saying we are getting 100 basis points worth of cuts. I'm going to try to keep this one as short as possible, hopefully under 10 minutes, so you guys can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. As always, I hope you all enjoyed your weekend and spent some time with family as well as God. Now, before we get into GameStop, I want to talk about FMST really quick. FMST, Foremost Clean Energy, is a company that we've talked about in the past, but I wanted to give you a brief update on the chart because this stock is a penny stock. But before it traded all the way up here at $5.60, very shortly prior to that, it was at 67 cents, and we ended up talking about the stock. Now, basically, this stock has some upside coming to it, and in my opinion, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, and possibly some catalyst going forward. First of all, Denison Mines is holding a 19% stake in the company. After we've seen all of this volume come into the play, we are seeing institutions kind of back what their plans are going forward. Why would they do this? Well, the US is promoting nuclear energy, boosting uranium demand, and putting bans on Russian imports, which reduces foreign supply and creates higher demand for domestic uranium. So FMST's drilling is going to become more valuable in a tighter supply market, which is pretty simple, pretty simply put, and any discovery could lead to contracts, partnerships, or buyout potential. Now, why is the stock holding its own? Why are institutions holding it? Well, because they just set off a new drill program with 2,500 meters worth in Murphy Lake South, and any findings could trigger a major move and could be the catalyst for this play to have its next leg up. Some levels that I would watch for are 460 as well as 724. Now, if we come up to where I do believe we are going to eventually up to 724, that is still a 150% gain. Keep in mind, this stock was much higher in the past. You can look back in January of 2021, was all the way up to $20 a share, which is a huge move. Overall, guys, let me know your thoughts on FMST in the comments down below, and if you are already invested in it since the last time we called it out. Let's talk about GameStop really quick. I was just messing with the charts. We have a lot of bullish things that we talked about, but these warrants are not getting off anybody's mind, and I kind of thought about it a little bit over the weekend. Now, I gave a little bit of scenarios and possibilities during the live stream on the GameStop warrants that are convertible at $32 a share. And it was interesting to me over the past couple of hours this morning, that the bondholders got the warrants. Why would Ryan Cohen give the bondholders warrants? Now, remember, the bondholders took the debt on for GameStop at a 0% rate, which was interesting. And you can put that to the side. That was interesting enough. You can leave your 10 on the table for that. We talked about that before. But what's more interesting is that when these bondholders take on these bonds that are convertible into cash or shares, they end up delta hedging to stay neutral. Now, that means they shorted a bunch of the stock. And we talked about when GameStop ran to about $38. Again, we're on a more macro time frame, but if I brought you the 4-hour, you would see it hit about 38 up here. The hedging got more aggressive as you neared the conversion price of 38.81. Now, the same thing should technically happen. However, the dynamic that the bondholders got the warrants changes everything, in my opinion. Reason being is because they don't have to necessarily delta hedge. Now, what I mean by that is, think about it, right? They now have the hedge already on the $32 strike price. So now you have a $32 price sitting in between these two convertible bond offering prices, one being up here at 38.81, one being right around 29 bucks. If we cross 32, and this is just one hypothetical, right? This is the worst, I guess, hypothetical. If we cross 32 at any point, we cross 32, here's what's going to happen. All of that delta hedging is not only going to flip, but it is going to flip double if one thing doesn't happen. here's what I want you to know, right? We're sitting at $25. Everybody wants the price here at 32. Retail, convertible bondholders, market makers could see some profits as well. But what I want to point out is all of these bondholders are short. They're short to hedge against the position that they have taken. If they know that at 32, they can get 100% of the hedge safety completely gone, and it's basically a risk-free position that they've taken, then they would likely cover their shorts to push the price to 32. Now, if that's too risky for them, once we get to 32, even though they're still shorting, they flip their shorts anyway. So there's one of two scenarios. If we get to 32 and these bondholders don't close their hedge, then the flip is going to be massive and you're going to have a huge move off of 32. If we, on our way to 32, get pressure from the hedging on the way to 32, then we should see a fast move to 32. And then beyond that will be interesting. Why will it be interesting? Well, because they have closed their hedge, but what they want to do at this point and what's sustainable, and this is why I think Ryan Cohen said the warrants are non-dilutive, right? I think this is why he said that. He knows that retail isn't going to sell. So exercising the warrants are non-dilutive. In fact, it just raises cash for the company until you sell. If you exercise and you don't sell those shares, it is non-dilutive. And I think that's why he did this, right? The bondholders aren't going to want to let them go. The shareholders aren't going to want to let them go. So they essentially just trapped shorts into a stair-stepping move higher. What's going to want to happen is the bondholders will most likely want to keep the price anywhere in this range between 40 and 48 bucks, right? And 52 has been our range for a while. And that's not to say that they will be successful at this. That is to say that that is what I believe we are about to get to in the very, very near future in the short term. So all of this is genius, I believe. I believe all of this is genius, and it was a better incentive to give the bondholders the warrants as well. I just figured I would get that off of my chest. On top of that, as far as Bitcoin goes, GameStop raising this amount of cash, and if people were to sell their warrants anyway, you've essentially created a trap that keeps GameStop delta neutral anyway, right? Because the end of Q2 showed their Bitcoin holdings right here. And now Bitcoin has rallied up here, and I don't believe it's done. I think we have one last move. Given that one last move, what are the couple scenarios? Seeing that Altcoin Season Index is flashing lower, seeing that the top is in. It's possible. I don't think that is the case, but here are a couple of scenarios for Bitcoin. One of them we already talked about and we have thought about, which is Bitcoin coming up to around 120 to 122K, retracing to 117, and then hitting that 131 price target. The next scenario is rate cuts come, and it's a sell the news event. Bitcoin tests 103K, and everyone thinks the top is in, and then we hit 131. And this kind of leads me to a point that this is obviously a joke, but crypto in 2030, and you can see everything is insanely green. XRP's at 53, Ethereum's at 80K, Bitcoin's at 2 million, right? If you hold and you're not a trader, then you should take that cinder block feeling off of your chest that you're going to lose a bunch of money through a winter market, and you have to figure out which way these are going to go. Just want to state that if you're not a trader and you're okay with holding the bag for a little bit, this is essentially what happens. But maybe not at this much of a rate, but this is essentially what happens. Speaking of short squeeze plays, AMC is also looking very good. It's tracking what we have been watching the entire time, and it's due for a move. Also, it moves with GameStop. Also, the baskets, BlackBerry got an interesting candle on Friday. It got a full daily candle built outside of these levels that we have drawn out on the chart. Both times that it broke out of this, BlackBerry saw a decent move. However, it wasn't its move, right? But we saw a 24% move out of this channel, and then we saw another 24% move out of this channel. Who's to say we won't see a bigger one? But ultimately, I'm watching 475 for the initial move for BlackBerry. Tilray trying to build a base here with a nice order block. Tilray sundial also going to move. Speaking of short squeeze plays, again, GNS up 21% Friday, and the day prior on Thursday had a nice rally as well. It's at a key resistance level, but some people are talking about the cash adjustment that they just did, possibly exposing naked shorts. So if you're really deep into GNS, this is something definitely to look into. Plus, Open Door board chair says company is bloated and needs to cut 85% of workforce. So what does this mean for open, for all of you guys trading open? Well, we might open bloody red on Monday, and shorts will stack on. But if it gains momentum at all shortly after that, this could just be an opportunity to jump into Open Door for another move higher. It's just something to watch. I don't give financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. As always, we have the rate decision Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Fed FOMC statement, same time. Fed FOMC dot plot, all that stuff. Wednesday, center of the week, gonna be a huge move for the market. Two ways for the market to go, very similar to Bitcoin. We are either going straight up to 667, or well, actually, that's not true. I think the more likely scenario for the SPY is either way on Monday. We get a test right here at 652.75. Write that down, 652.75. So a $5 drop. I believe that will happen either way. It doesn't have to, but following that, we should see a move to 667, or the FOMC is going to be a potential initial week event for the end of September, which ultimately will, in my opinion, bring the SPY down towards 638.75. That is a level that I want to watch. And then following that, we still hit the highs anyway. And that is basically the similar chart I have for Bitcoin. So will we get some scam wicks to shake out paper hand and then hit the highs, or are we just going to straight get up there, right? Overall, guys, that is what I got for you for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching, or found value out of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed your weekend. Make sure to like the video on your way out. Hit the comment section to engage the algorithm. And yeah, that is it, guys. I love you all. God bless. Lottery sucks out. Oh, and last thing real quick, pop in the Discord, top link in the description, and get my custom indicator, second link in the description as well. Peace.